Previously on the show, we've told you how employees at Google discussed altering search results to undermine the White House's immigration policies. At the time, Google said it has never changed search results for political reasons, and it never will. We knew it was untrue then. Now we can prove that it is untrue. The show has obtained internal Google emails in which an employee discusses editing YouTube search results to suppress videos based on their political content. Here's one example. Last March, Google engineer Dong Zhao sent an email saying the company wanted to, and we're quoting, demote low authoritative content on controversial queries to fight against fake news. This was not hypothetical. He said the company had already succeeded in suppressing unwanted videos for searches like Hillary and, we're flattered here, Tucker. It's not clear which videos were suppressed because Google won't admit it or tell us, but the email does indicate that Alex Jones and InfoWars were a major target of this. Google says their efforts are not political and meant to fight conspiracy theories, though for the record, we have never endorsed any kind of conspiracy theory on the show and never would. And by the way, how does Google define a conspiracy theory? They haven't told us that either, or why a superpower global monopoly ought to be making that decision in the first place, since they have a congressional exemption in which they promised not to. They promise to be a conduit through which information flows and not a news site that edits it. Congress might want to rethink that agreement. Well, it's no secret that free speech is evaporating in this country. Even if the government is still prevented from punishing your speech, you're more than likely than ever to be suspended from school, fired from your job, or banned from social media for saying something that dissents from the consensus or that simply makes a few people feel bad. Dave Portnoy is at the very center of this. You may know him as El Presidente. He's the founder of Barstool Sports, the beating heart of it. Barstool Sports is not a political site, but it has faced repeated demands that it be censored. So we want to talk to him about what that is like. Dave, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're not a political site. I wouldn't say you're a conservative. I think you're probably a liberal. I'm not going to ask you. I don't know what your politics are. But you're not a political guy. But you have been the target of repeated demands for censorship. Have they increased in the last few years? If so, why? And what do you do?
Yeah, they have increased nonstop. We just keep trying to be us. Now, we've grown. We're probably over 100 people now in the company. And there's differing views because the more I talk, the more I tell the truth, the more people may come at us from different angles. But my philosophy and how I started the company is I will just always tell it as I see it. I won't be dictated to by outside forces, but it's definitely increased. It's definitely been a major increase in the last 2 years on how people attack us, basically.
So what don't they like? Since you're not a political site, I know a lot of our viewers are frequent Barstool Sports. They know you're not pushing a political agenda. So why are people mad at you? What triggers them?
It's tough to say. A lot of it, they view us as sexist. They view us as a sexist site, and we have in the past. Well, in a Sports Illustrated, we'd feature girls in bikinis at different times. It's a men's culture website, amongst other things. We consider ourselves a comedy site, and then the narrative starts to build. A lot of the people who comment now really have no idea who we are. They see something linked on Twitter. They see somebody maybe comment about an article, and then when I react to them or talk to them or go any deeper, they literally have no clue what we do. They're just seeing this cycle, this vicious cycle basically on social media, and it all just feeds on itself. But they don't know our history. They don't know me. They don't know what we've been doing for 15 years.
It seems like it's a war on humor itself. Like there's something about jokes that makes a certain kind of person really angry.
Yeah, it's hard to say. They just fulfill on each other. Social media, I think a lot of it, social media has just given people a voice that, they can exert pressure on advertisers and do different things. And if they don't like something you said, or they think a joke isn't funny, or they take something literally, I've always explained it this way. For us, it would be if somebody went to a comedy show and they didn't have a ticket, they didn't know who the comedian was, they walked into the room, they heard a joke, then they walked out in the street and said, hey, you'll never believe what this guy's saying, but they give no context of how the joke was told, right, where they saw it. That's what happens a lot of times with people like us, and I think a lot of people in the comedian business.
So the irony, actually the reason I want to talk to you more than any other is that you have not bowed before the online mob, begged and scraped for forgiveness. You've continued to do what you think is right, which is telling the truth, and you have thrived.
Yeah, and at some level, I've benefited since I started the company, and I ran it myself with other employees, but I was at the top until 2 years ago when we sold half of it to a group of investors, a Chernin Group, who have stood behind what we did. And I would rather, this may sound crazy, I'd rather go down with the ship than give in to these people. I just can't do it because I know who I am. I know my character. I know the character of the people that we hire. I will not let people who have no idea what we do, no idea how hard we work, no idea how long we did it. We outworked, out-hustled, out-blogged everybody else that we did. I'm not going to let somebody who has no idea what we do make stuff up about us, pull stuff out of context, and make me change what I do. I will not do it.
Brave people win in the end, and you're living proof of it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm kind of inspired.
I'm fired up myself.
Good for you. El Presidente.